Please welcome back to the show, Parker Posey, everybody. What an entrance,
What
Parker.
an entrance.
What an entrance.
What does this dress remind you of?
I'd like my kids eat like apra. Oh, is it? Are you saying I Dream of Jeannie?
Close, but tell me what you were going to say.
They eat like that, like apricot fruit leather.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so that part right there, like that seems to me
okay,
like.
I get it.
Yeah.
I'm
the
thinking more
extension.
Agnes Moorehead
Yeah.
from Bewitched.
Yeah, very bewitched.
Angora.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
And she would just pop up on the refrigerator and, you know, give advice.
I feel like it's a lot nicer. The fashion of it is a lot nicer. There's a little bit of Mrs. Roper.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
And you know what? That brings us around to talk about your friend's movie, The Parenting.
Oh, yeah, my
where
friend
I
Kent
play-
Sublette. Yes.
A movie that's on HBO.
Yeah.
It's really funny. And I play the wacky neighbor, which is very Mrs. Roper. And
Yeah.
that's what
Look at us
this
tying
person-
everything together.
I
We're
know,
just at the
I
very
love it.
top of things.
I love it.
What a wonderful start.
What a world.
I will tell you, I was so excited when I read the casting of this new season of The White Lotus, but they did not prepare me for what a joy it's been to watch you on the show. It
Yay.
is so wonderful.
Thank you so much.
And it's just great.
So much fun. So much fun.
And I would, you know, it's such wonderful dialogue for all the characters, but you seem to have a lot to chew on. And were you so excited when you first got the script from Mike White?
I was so excited, and I read all 8 episodes in one sitting, and it was such a ride. You know, it's so rare that you can read something with an entire cast in this great ensemble.
Yeah.
And I really felt for these people.
Yeah, you do
know?
have
I
empathy.
really felt for
and they're
them.
not really great people.
I know.
And yet, Mike does this thing where you find you're just like rooting for them no matter what awful things he tells you
That's
they
right,
did.
because you feel like you know them.
Yeah.
Right? And then there's that excitement because you've seen the first season and the second
Yeah.
season of these people that he writes. And you know that there's, you know, everyone, you can't really trust anyone. You have to, and, you know, people are coming up to me and like, they're trying to eke out information about what I know. I've had some slips, but I've done pretty.
Have you done a good job?
I think I've done okay,
I think,
yeah.
By the way, you're not just doing a favor for Mike in that. You're doing a favor for the people who are trying to get the information. It's going to be so much more fun to watch it.
It's a
than to hear
week
it.
by week thing,
Yeah.
and it's like the old soaps, and when people would tune in on a show, and I love that. It's exciting for everyone.
It's such a fun character. It's an accent. You're from North Carolina on the show. You grew
Yes.
up Louisiana,
In Louisiana,
Mississippi. So you're
My
familiar
mom
with.
was in Laurel.
Okay.
Little shout out to Laurel.
Okay.
And my mother.
But this is, you know, not all Southern accents are the same. Have you
They're
been-
not. There's so many different kinds,
Yeah.
right? Louisiana has Cajun. Some people are slow. There's like a really soft Southern accent, you know, you can, but I wanted Victoria to have, you know, have all these funny lines. As an actor, you approach the text and you think of these, you know, all the lines sound funny. I think Mike is such a brilliant writer. He's such a funny writer. So I had all these jokes. It was like, okay, how can I, you know, really play it up and really make a character. This is what I love about the South, because I think the South is full of self-made characters.
Yes.
I come from a family that where you, I'm sure you do too. Are you going to be funny at dinner tonight? Do you come in with a story?
Yeah. No, 100%.
Did you have that?
I did
There was
have
an
that.
expectation, and to, you know, to be funny or charming or to share something or a story. So I had that in my family. So this felt like being able to perform this part was,
I will say
felt
that
really
my
good.
favorite thing about your accent in the show is how you pronounce your daughter's name, Piper.
Piper.
Yeah.
It's such a snotty name.
You say Piper like there's an extra syllable that I don't see. It's like the pie. It's like the
Piper. You know, there's all this. Yeah, I love Southern accents. I love the enjoying.
But
it.
this is. I'm wondering if like people from North Carolina, are you getting good feedback from them?
Oh yeah, I was in Paris. I was at the Valentino fashion show.
look at
I'm
you.
doing the whole like
Yeah.
actress thing now. Yeah. Wait, should I do that again? Should I do this?
Yeah.
Can I
Please.
show that off again? And there were these people from North Carolina at the hotel, and they were like, "We just have to say we're from North Carolina. We think you're doing a great job. We love the accent. It's dead on. You've got that part down. This is my mother. That's my aunt." You know, like people. We've captured something, and so that just feels so good.
I'm one of your co-stars, who's so wonderful, Jason Isaacs, who plays your husband.
He's English.
He's English. He seems to be doing a good job too. But I have a question. Do you think it's harder for someone to go from England to North Carolina, or from somebody like you who grew up close? Like you had a Southern accent you had to sort of take apart to build this new one up.
Right.
Which I feel like might actually be trickier.
I don't know. I don't know how to answer that, but I can say that Jason Isaacs loves an accent.
Yeah.
We were both really excited. We watched Southern Charm.
That's
You
great.
know, we got into it. But the English accent and the Southern accent are very similar.
Yeah, so it seems like it's harder for you.
Oh, it was harder for me.
Yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
harder.
it was really hard. It was a lot harder for me.
Yeah, it was a lot harder for you. It
And-
was sort of easy for him and hard for you.
That's right.
Because you're a true actor.
That's right. Consummate professional. It was so hot in Thailand.
Was it so
It was
hot?
so hot. You know what they said at the Elephant Sanctuary?
What'd they
There are
say?
3 seasons in Thailand: hot, hotter, and hottest. I had like a Ziploc baggie of ice in between my legs all the time, and ice at the side of my chair, and would just be like holding on to that ice and getting through. There was this banya tree once that dropped these big balls, these berries, and they would bounce or they would splat and stain the table, and that was a big distraction.
By the way,
day.
it sounds.
I'm talking about at night. It's that hot. It's like summer, August, New Orleans hot, Atlanta, Georgia, Texas, Austin hot, and then like going to a car and turning on the heater. It's like that hot, but it's nighttime and it's outside and you open the door and it was just like, I can't believe we did it.
I can't either. And I will say, like, watching the show, I'm like, oh, I really want to go there. And now talking to you, I really don't.
You know what? A lot of people are in love with Thailand.
Yeah.
And when I went back a few weeks ago and I went to the Four Seasons in Koh Samui where we shot, and they said, welcome home.
Aw.
It's a beautiful country, kingdom, and
Right.
the hospitality is just like never. I'd never been to Asia, I've never been to Thailand, but there's this
reason to go. That's
freedom
fantastic.
and people are burning up. They're sweating their faces off, and they still go, and they're like, we're never going back to America. Like they love it. They love it. A lot of like digital, you know, what are they called? Digital.
I think that's fine.
You know.
Let's not
What are they
inflate
called?
them. That's
Digital
like, I think
nomads.
we should talk about them more like that. You know, the digitals,
Yeah, it's computers, right?
the computers.
People-
Everything's computers.
Yeah.
I have a lot more to ask you. It'll be more with Parker right after this. We are back with Parker Posey. Now, Mike White, and what a collaboration the two of you are having right now. But you met him years ago at a party. He told you he was a fan of your work, but that didn't mean that much to you, right? Those are just words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have these, I'm like, yeah, write something for me. Like, I would love to work for you. And this happened like a few times over the last 20 years.
So he basically would tell you're a fan, and you'd be like, write something for me.
Yeah, I'd
And
be
then he
like, I'm a
finally,
fan
like,
of yours
he
too.
backed it up.
Yeah, he did.
Have you ever said that to anyone else in the business when they've told you they're a fan?
So to write something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who were you?
Yeah, you know, this is so funny. I was in a parking lot at Gelson's in Hollywood, and I was hanging out with Jim Mangold, who directed the Bob Dylan
Yes.
movie, and I know him from the way back in the indie days. He had a movie called Heavy that was out way back in the 90s.
Oh, yeah, the indie
And the indie days. And I was like, God, I wish I could get these good parts and blah, blah, blah. And I'm in the parking lot, and Steven Spielberg drives in the parking lot in a convertible with his daughter. And I was like, hey, and I waved to him, and he was like, I'm a big fan. And I said, give me a job, man. I was not in Schindler's List.
No, you were not.
I was not in.
Oh, so this happened a long time ago.
This was like
passed it.
25 years ago.
That's still nothing.
I asked him in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And he has not delivered yet.
I mean,
Do you think he remembers?
I think if Parker Posey yelled to me in a parking lot, I'd remember.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
I feel like the thing you need to do is wear that outfit in a parking lot. Just a lot
That's
of like,
right.
Give me a part.
Yes. Let me play a witch.
You saw, all right, so you saw a fish in Thailand. and you have a video.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
So this is not a fish that I've seen before. You probably haven't seen one. This is
No, I heard about this. It's a walking fish.
A walking fish.
And they're the size of your thumb. And I went to a cave.
Okay.
And I walked through like knee-deep water and cave. I held on to my Noah's sister was in town and his mom. We walked through this cave to the walking fish.
Okay.
Do you remember Land of the Lost?
Sure.
This is like a 70s show.
Yeah.
This was so unreal. There were all these fish that when the tide is down, they like come up, they're like mudfish and they have these gills and they're really small and they're territorial and they're really like, they fight for their territory and their gills like puff up and they're and
This is another time where now I don't want to go to Thailand.
And I didn't take, Noah sent this video.
Okay.
You can watch it now, but they were like this big and just as fierce as
All right,
can
let's
be.
take a look at a walking fish.
Yeah.
Are you coming to the camera to pose?
Right?
I mean, that is a walking fish. I don't know if it's worth going through a cave for. I like that you went and I got to watch a video. You also, this is a photo. Can you
And it
explain?
was-
This seems to be, this is a
that was
photo.
it.
This is a photo you took. Rest?
It was one of my favorite meals at a restaurant
Well,
called
that's
the
interesting because
Sunset
this seems to be a picture of a cat eating a fish head. And so it's interesting that you would say this is one of my favorite meals.
It was. We had a date. There were a lot of cats in Phuket, and I was like, she has lived 1,000 lives. She seemed so old and so like starving. And I had this huge fish, and then I put it down on the ground, and she ate the eyes, she ate the cartilage, she ate
It does
everything.
sound like a great meal.
It was the best. And then there was it was so exotic. I mean, Thailand is so beautiful, and I like to go out and try out the places
I'm very
around
happy to hear that.
town.
And you were there for 7 months, so this is no joke. You got a chance to see
I
it.
really felt like
I'm happy because
it was
sometimes
a
you
whole
hear
lot.
actors say they went somewhere and you say, how was it? And they said, I worked the whole time. I'm very happy that you went out and saw the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was this one restaurant that had a lot of I don't know, it was like the bugs just came.
Yeah.
I mean, like thousands and the meal was mostly done. But
Well, that's polite that they waited. The things about the bugs is they'll come, but they will wait for you. Almost done.
they waited on cue. They waited for it to be funny, is what they did.
Yeah.
And then they came, and
this is
I took
that,
a
right?
picture
This
of
is them, like, landing?
of a cookie tin that someone. Yeah.
I mean, I guess just like apologies to anyone who's like eating while watching this.
Yeah.
Please welcome back to the show, Natasha Rothwell, everybody. Welcome back.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to have you here.
I'm so happy to be back. Hi, guys.
And, this is not, of course, the only show you're back on. You did season 1 of White Lotus. You were not in season 2.
I did.
My question is, did you have any sense that Mike White would reach out and ask to have you back?
Absolutely none whatsoever.
Yeah.
I was fully surprised and so grateful. You know, I watched season 2 like everyone else, and then I got the call from Mike, and
And so your answer to the call wasn't, let me see the scripts and I'll think about it.
no, I ran through my wall like the Kool-Aid Man. Luggage in hand. I was like, where are we going? Let's ride.
I mean, as far as a show to get cast on, The White Lotus, as far as where you're going to shoot.
Right.
They're never like, we're going to shoot Vancouver for Thailand.
No.
You get to go straight to the
We were
source.
outside.
Yeah.
Outside.
Parker Posey was talking about how hot it was in Thailand. She was here earlier this week. And also Creatures.
Oh, God, yes.
Did you, this is sort of what Belinda's experience as well. Did you, Natasha, have any actual creature experience?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
So I was going to the hair and makeup room like at 4 a.m, and we were doing hair and makeup at this sort of hotel that had an outdoor courtyard that we had to walk through. And this wonderful PA named Chris was leading me at 4 a.m, and I look over at, a palm frond that kind of did this.
Oh, no.
Right? And I sort of stopped in my tracks. He looked back at me and he was just like, is everything okay? And I was like, snake. And he looks over, he turns white, and then he looks back at me. I'm not there. I'm all the way across. He was just like, how did you move that fast? I was like, I don't know. God got me across this courtyard. I was terrified, and the thickness was like as thick as my arm. It was a snake. Like
it was a snake, yeah. No joking around snake.
No, capital S snake.
You know, we were talking backstage. I got sent the first few episodes of the show. Yeah. But they won't send everything to anyone because the surprise is such an important part of the show. What was it like to read the scripts? Were you just, was it a page turner for you?
I binge watched the show by reading all of them at the same time. Yeah. I have a dog. At the time, I had a dog, and I was just screaming. The whole time he was jumping. He was like, "What's wrong, Mom?" And I was just like, "It's going down." It's going down in these scripts, yeah.
Obviously, the show is incredibly well written. It's beautifully directed. The way Mike casts a show is really something to see. You had such an incredible ensemble in the first season.
Yeah.
Now, you know, there's only a couple of you back from season 1. Did you find that same connection with the cast pretty quickly?
Yeah, I mean, I was so terrified to go. I mean, the heavy hitters on this season, I mean, you have Carrie Coon, Parker Posey, Leslie Bibb, Michelle Moynihan, Walton Goggins. And so we had this like cast dinner the first week everyone was there. And I'm a wallflower by nature. And so at the cocktail hour before we sat for dinner, I was kind of plastered on the wall and watching all of them walk in. And they were all talking in a corner. And it was very high school for a moment for me. And at one moment, Carrie Coon comes over, and I just immediately apologize. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm just like very nervous. I have social anxiety. And she goes, we're all over there, and we're nervous about you. You've done this before. So at that moment, my shoulders went down. I was like, oh, okay. I'm the senior here.
I mean, it's such a wonderful fit to have you as a senior. I think it benefits everybody. Mike obviously, you know, writes these scripts. He has such a unique way of writing. But I was lovely to hear he's also very open to collaborating with his actors.
Yeah, he's very aware he's not a black woman.
Yeah.
Very aware.
He might be the farthest visually
from a black woman, but I have hope. I'm holding out hope. But when I was cast originally, you know, it's a black role, you know, in a mostly homogenous environment, and I wanted to protect her. And so I reached out, and I was just like, you know, I'm also a writer, and is there any way you'd be open to collaboration? He jumped on it. He was so down, and we went page by page season 1, and I would pitch ideas, and he knew it was coming from another writer. It wasn't like an actor being like, I think all of it should be me. And we did the same thing season 3, and we got together, yeah.
We talked about when you were here before, when your family engages with your work, and what your mom had to say about your work. Is she a White Lotus fan? Is she watching season 3 as it comes out? And what are her notes?
She has thoughts.
Yeah.
Mom has thoughts. She's watching, and she told me that, because I asked her about Lexby, she was like, well, I'm trying to watch them in, like, you know, pairs, so that way she can sort of have a mini binge. But yeah, she's gonna have thoughts, and she's usually just like, what are these crazy white people doing?
By the way, that could have been another title for the show.
Yes. I should have pitched that to Mike.
You mentioned you said you had a dog, but the reason you clarified is you have 2 now.
I grew my family.
Yeah. It does look like.
Oh my God.
It does kind of look like you literally grew it. You took like a seed from this dog and planted it.
I know. It was in December, and I just saw, this is Wilson, everyone.
Yeah, Wilson's adorable.
This is Lloyd, named after Lloyd Dobler from Say Anything.
Yeah.
And when I saw Wilson's photo at this rescue, and I was like, come on.
Yeah.
And so I just had to do it, and now they're in this little training class. They're in school together right now.
Oh my God, that's wonderful.
I can't handle it. It's helping me through
everything.
Everything.
Please welcome to the show, Amy Lou Wood, everybody. Happy you're here.
I'm so happy I'm here. You're the nicest one. That's what everyone says.
Really? Is that the word out on the streets?
The word on the street. Yeah, you've got a glowing reputation.
Well, that's
Seth.
wonderful.
You really do.
But to make sure not to throw it away over the course of the next 8 minutes.
Let's hope.
Now, this is a show, like myself, you were a huge fan of the first 2 seasons.
Huge. Super fan.
So what was it like when you found out, when you got the news that you were actually going to be on season 3?
It was both exhilarating and terrifying. I was so scared because the reality sunk in that, oh my God, I'm actually going to be in this. And it's such an ensemble piece, isn't it? Like, it's about the group, and you just don't want to be the one that lets the group down.
Yeah?
The pressure. And it's Mike, and it's just, and it was, but
How
it was amazing.
fast did it happen? Because I think I had a similar thing when I got hired on SNL, right? You have like an hour of being thrilled, and then I had the same thing of like,
I had
oh
about
no,
30
I'm gonna,
seconds.
30 seconds.
I honestly went, woo! And like the guy at the bar was like, what's going on? And he started playing the White Lotus theme tune, and it was all celebration. Then I was like, and then I had to pretend like, because all my friends were going, this is the best news ever, and I'm going, I am so happy about it.
Oh my God! That is way too quick an arc that you
Wait,
took.
I'm a Scorpio moon.
Oh, yeah, we'll get to that. Let's get to astrology,
Get to
because
that.
I was fascinated to hear that you auditioned initially with an American. It was written as an American.
Yeah.
So, being an actor as you are, you had an American accent. You were ready to go.
I was.
And then, what was it that made them say, no, actually, we want you to do it with that voice?
Well, I think they've been looking for Chelsea for a while, and Mike's very instinctive with his casting. He kind of just, it's all intuition. It's like, that's them.
Yep.
Like, we don't do chemistry tests. Like, me and Walton had never met. The ladies had never met. It's all just, he trusts that it's going to work. And so they hadn't found Chelsea yet. And I think they'd maybe, everyone was doing the American accent, and it was kind of like, you know, because talking about astrology as an American, it starts to feel quite LA.
Yep.
And it was like Scorpio, you know, and then they were like, do one in American, but do one in her own voice. And I think there was something about, it made it slightly more off-center and maybe a bit more individual when it was in a Manchester accent.
Yeah, I don't think any of us were like, oh, that old trope.
That old trope, the old Mancunian hippie astrologer. It's like, it's not really a thing.
Yeah, so you were like, it was new ground for you. But this is also, I don't know if Mike knew this or not, but you do have a taste for astrology. You are interested in it.
Insatiable.
And you actually asked, you said you would do a reading. Is that the correct, am I using the correct terminology?
Yes.
For me, if I gave you my birth date, including the time.
Which you
wanted
were
the time.
so specific about, which I loved, because you're such a Capricorn.
Yeah, oh yes.
Yeah.
So that's the specificity is true to my Capricorn ways?
It's very true. And I just thought, of course he's Capricorn, because he's given me the exact minute. You didn't round it up, you didn't round it down. It was 43.
Well, because you asked, and I gave you what you asked.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Seth.
So what have you found?
So I've got my phone, just in case I forget, but I actually think I've memorized it.
Okay.
So your big 3, which is your sun, your moon, and your rising.
Okay.
So you're a Capricorn sun.
Great.
So it's actually the father of the zodiac, which might explain why everyone feels so safe and comforted around
lovely
you.
to hear. Okay.
But also very driven, very ambitious, and hardworking.
Okay.
Your moon is Aquarius. Now, my sun is Aquarius, so that means that we're cosmically linked.
Oh, great.
Sun and moon is...
By the way, I was feeling that.
Yeah, exactly. And Aquarius is your eccentricity. They're known as the alien signs. They're the mavericks. They're kind of creative, revolutionary types. So that makes sense that your default setting, which is your moon, your most core private self, is actually a bit of an alien, eccentric thing. But then the thing that you've grown into and you've used in your life is your Capricorn father, you know, earthy. So you've got earth, air, and then your rising, which is kind of like your motivation for life and what you like in life, is Virgo.
Okay.
And that's also very hardworking, very earthy, very practical. So I can understand why you're such a safe...
This has been wonderful for me.
Earth. A lot of earth in there.
Love it.
A lot of earth.
Now, can I ask you, will you be honest with what I'm going to ask? Have you ever done a reading for someone where it's been like, you're a dud?
I have got some people's charts and been like, oh my God! Oh my God, that's really interesting. Really interesting. And you think, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Because your Mercury is Capricorn, so how you communicate is the same as who you are. So whereas a lot of people can have a Mercury that's completely different.
Oh, that's
to
the
their-
rising.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, Mercury is actually a communication planet.
I knew that.
I've gone deep. I've gone really far down
You
into
guys-
the
what are you-
chart.
how far down are you, like 6, 7?
I've gone intense, yeah. I'm actually stopping myself now because I could go on for 3 hours.
I want to ask you a question about something that happened on the show, which is Walton Goggins, your co-star. He just said that he was bitten by a snake during the fantastic episode where you guys go to a whatever snake farm. I don't quite know the right terminology.
Yeah.
You're not afraid of snakes at all.
I'm not afraid at all, but I knew Walton was terrified.
So going into it, you knew.
I knew, and I was giving him hugs in between takes, and he was shaking. He was so scared. He was so brave, because he just had to go on autopilot and just do the thing. Whereas I was like, oh, can I hold them?
Yeah.
They're so cute. And he was just so terrified. And it's not the first time a snake has nipped him.
Yeah,
It's
it
happened
seems like he's
before.
somebody who has like come to their fear of snakes honestly.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
He has reason.
If he
This is
keeps
not an
getting bit
irrational-
by them, it's
Yeah.
not like, why are you so weird about snakes?
Yeah, it's happened twice on
it's
2
crazy.
different jobs.
Yeah.
Like that is, but yeah, I also fell that day.
How'd you fall?
When I was, so the snake did bite a leg, but it was not my leg, obviously. It was my fake leg.
Yeah.
It was the fake leg that was made.
Uh-huh.
3D printing, lasers, all of this.
Your leg,
futuristic-
if they made it,
Yeah.
when you saw it, did you think, wow, that's a good...
I was like, do you know what? Not too bad. Yeah. But they did like a laser scan of my leg
Wow,
and then
all right.
printed it, and they did the skin, so it was exactly the same, but I did have a tan by the time the leg got there, so it was
Yeah.
a slightly different colour. But the snake bit that leg, and then they had to throw it away because there was venom in it. It was all very cool.
Wow.
But when I obviously had to run away from the snake was not actually there. I was imagining the snake was there, and I ran off. I stacked it. Honestly, like, full on stacked it onto the floor and was pretending that I found it funny, because that's what you have to do when you're falling.
Yeah.
You can't act like you're in pain.
And
I
you're
was like,
so, you know that thing too when you fall and you're like, I hope no one was looking?
yeah,
Everyone was looking.
And I was like, Frank, to the camera guy, I was like, Frank, I know you found that funny. It's so funny, right? He's like, no, Amy, you're bleeding. you're bleeding. And then the medic's running in. Walton's like, oh my God, the whole side of my body's bleeding. But I'm going, I'm not bleeding. This is so fun. And then, like, Walton was bit. It was all chaos that day.
Fun day on set.
Fun day.
All right, last thing, and then I'll let you go. Obviously, I'm assuming there's going to be some relief for you based on the fact that everybody has probably, for certainly the last 2 months, been asking you who dies in the finale of The White Lotus. Are you going to be relieved that you...
So stressful, Seth.
Yeah.
Like, I found out when I was 29 years old.
Yeah.
I'm 31 now.
Wow. You've held this secret for 2 years.
That's how long I've been holding that secret.
Wow.
So I need it to be over now, because I've got that thing like when you need the loo and you're in the car and then you see you've made it the whole journey, but then you see the front door and you think, I can't do the 5 more steps to the front door. That's how I feel.
Thank you on behalf of all of us for holding your secret.
Thank you.
What a delight to have you here. Thank you so much. You guys, this is Amy Underwood, everybody. Please welcome back to the show, the one, the only, Walton Goggins, everybody. You know, for people watching at home, if you haven't watched the finale, we're going to spoil the out of it. So that's just for people. I'm sorry.
Seth dies.
I died. It was weird.
I'm alive.
You're
but I
alive.
really am alive.
And then there's a weird scene where you and Rick and Chelsea are watching Late Night with Seth Meyers, and I die. And people are disappointed. They're like, I thought it'd be someone in the cast. Congratulations. This is, it was a really special show to be a part of. I can only imagine. You were fantastic the entirety of the season. Do you feel so relieved to be able to talk about it now?
I do. You know, I've been sitting on the reality of this experience for a year and a half, and I read this story a year and a half ago, and I read that scene much like the people that watched it last night, you know, for the first time, and I was affected in such a visceral way then, and understanding that was the top of this Mount Everest, and that's where this journey was ultimately going to end, and it was. You know, how to get there, and it just was in my body, and that sadness was for so long, you know.
Yeah.
And it was really last night that feel like I'm finally able to let it go.
Did you watch it last night when it aired? Like, how do you consume it when it comes on?
Well, we were given 6 episodes kind of right out of the gate. So
That's what I got too. I love that I got the same treatment.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like I am in the
Damn it,
cast.
I thought, yeah, you are in the cast. And then we got 7, I think like right when 7 was kind of coming out, but no one got 8.
Yeah.
So we watched it with everybody else last night for the very first time.
It was thrilling. I mean, it's rare. On a Sunday especially, it's rare for my wife to be able to like knock out, like start something at 9 and then it was it was extra long.
Did she watch all
We
of
made it. Yeah,
you
we
did
fully made it. Yeah. And
My
and
wife
you
would have broken that into 3 parts.
and you kept it from your wife.
I did. Well, I mean, it's the Super Bowl of culture, isn't it?
Yeah, right now it is, yeah.
But I did keep it from my wife. I told no one, and about 3 weeks ago, it had just kind of gotten to the place where it was just causing me so much anxiety, and she was visiting me in Los Angeles, and so I just decided to reenact the last 30 minutes of the show. For her, you know, and I did all of it. I don't have a lot of dialogue.
Did
right?
you do?
So, I mean, other than
Did you do other people's parts or?
just mine?
Just
But I
mine.
did like talking to the therapist, to Amrita, and it's like I need help. No, you don't understand. I really need help.
Now, at any point, do you think your wife
And
was
then
like
I picked
listening?
up Amy Lou and kind of walked across it. I did all of it.
Was she ever like, I feel like I might want to wait to watch the show, honey?
You know what? She decided. No, she said. You know what? You got to do this, and you withheld it from me for so long. And the thing that in that moment, what was so I think cathartic for me was she started to cry, and she got wrapped up in these people and in this moment and understood what that last moment was. And this walking with Chelsea in Rick's arms, and that he would have walked to eternity. He would have walked for eternity. And
I read there's no table reads for this show. And so it's kind of stunning to realize, you and Amy Lou are sort of finding it the way, because again, your connection as Rick and Chelsea was one of the most special things about the show this year.
Thank you.
How quickly into that process did you realize, oh, this is one heck of a scene partner?
the very first time we met, which wasn't until Thailand, and we had lunch, and it was 3 minutes into the conversation before I think both of us realized that, okay, this is like Tribe, and this is going to be a very special person in my life, and someone that I can really go on this journey with, and it was like that kind of right out of the gate. And you never know, but I've had chemistry with a lot of people.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, so good.
sometimes by myself.
Right, so
That's my favorite.
I'm going to cut you off.
No, I didn't.
No, but speaking of that, you and Sam Rockwell, old friends.
Yeah.
You guys had a scene this season that will be talked about for years and years.
Yeah.
Sam's putting on a masterclass, right? It is a monologue. I can't imagine it in anyone else's hand. You, though, they should teach in acting school the adage that so much of acting is reacting, because the way you are listening is equally as riveting as the way Sam is talking. And it has become very memeable. And because, again, they cut you a bunch of times, and each one's a little bit different.
A little bit different, yeah.
What was I would assume that you did Sam's half first, yeah?
Yeah, we did, yeah, because he was doing the heavy
Yeah.
lifting, right? And it was, I just had in the back of my mind listening without judgment, right?
Yeah.
Because Rick had been so isolated and so down for so long with, in this vapid environment. He had no one to talk to. And the White Lotus, he wouldn't hang out with these people anyway. And he had no friends, he just had Chelsea. But all of a sudden, he becomes alive when he's around his friend.
Yeah.
He's got friends in the world,
Yeah.
And he listens to them, and they joke, and they're having a good time. And so we did Sam's coverage first, and he just, I just love him so much, and I think he's one of the best of my generation, and everything was different, and we just set the tone for Sam to play, and then when it came time to to kind of do my coverage, he just went even in stranger, weirder places. But we always not improvising, but because I just believe that you turn yourself over to an imaginary set of circumstances, and you're just having a conversation with your friend. And this one particular take, we just talked about, well, how far is your you know, is the temple from here? Like,
Yeah.
where, like, is this a neighborhood? Where do you go to eat? Like, at whatever that is. And then all of a sudden, he just launches into this story in a way that I'd never heard it before. And it was like, really? I mean, not really, not really.
You know, a lot of people, when you read press about this, you know, one of the draws was, you know, obviously a Mike White script is a draw enough, but going to Thailand, you'd been before. This was not your first trip.
Yeah.
So how many years ago did you go?
18 years ago.
Okay, 18 years ago, and it was not a White Lotus trip.
No. It was not a White Lotus trip, but it was, you know, I had a very traumatic thing that kind of happened in my life, and I went there looking for something very similar to what Rick Hatchett went there looking for, and not revenge. I was just looking for peace and some really good Thai food.
Yeah.
You know. but I landed in Bangkok. That was the beginning of like a 2.5 month Southeast Asian tour. I landed in Bangkok first. And I've picked this hotel. This was before smartphones or anything like that. And my last night of filming, very last night of filming, pulled up to this dock and recognized, like, I know this place. Oh my God, that's the house that the hotel room that I stayed in. That was my balcony 18 years ago.
So this is where you stayed 18 years ago. Def, not a White Lotus property.
Right. No, but I prefer this.
I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like in the show, I believe Rick, the character you played, has stayed in more of these than White Lotus.
Absolutely.
Where do you, you know, obviously, Rick's a bit of a cipher. We don't know a ton about him.
Yeah.
Did you pull, who were you using as inspiration?
Well, you know, I mean, we talked about like clothing kind of right out of the gate, and they said we really don't have any idea like what this guy wears, and I said, well, immediately James Woods in Salvador.
Yeah.
And called him, and I said, Jimmy, I'm going to steal your look. I'm not going to give you any credit. You're welcome, James.
That's nice to call, though.
Yeah, and then Hunter Thompson.
Yeah.
Hunter Thompson. But I've traveled a lot, and I've met a lot of Ricks along the way. I mean, I've drank in bars with Ricks, like a lot of people that have kind of been on the road. And so I felt like I had a really deep understanding of who this guy was. And because of the thing that had happened in my own life, I had a real empathy for his journey. It means a lot to me.
It was, I mean, it was both, you know, to go from White Lotus right into Righteous Gemstones. I mean, again, it's really funny.
Yeah.
Where you see
you.
that guy, like that guy's now back as, you know, Baby Billy.
You know, can I say something?
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about this backstage. We didn't talk about much of this backstage.
Yeah, no
Briefly.
problem.
But my very first day on the Righteous Gemstones, I swear. I mean, I'd only come home for 4 hours from Thailand, stopped in the apartment for 4 hours, got on another plane, went right into a wardrobe rehearsal. A wardrobe and all the rest of it. And then I walked on set like a day later in this ridiculous Baby Billy costume.
Yeah, just if you haven't seen the show, here's like, this is kind of this is a normal one.
Yeah, and this is the one, man. This
that's
is the
one.
That's
Okay.
the one I
Okay.
like the very first day, and I walked on, and I'm like literally walking past everyone. I don't remember anyone all of a sudden, and I'm thinking I'm a grown ass man, like dressed like this. And we walked in to do this scene, and I say like I have like 3 lines, and first take got to me, and I said, I'm so sorry, I don't know, I'm so sorry, what's my line? This happened like 4 or 5 takes in a row, and I looked at Danny, I said, I told you, man, like it's gonna take me a while. And he said, you got this. And you do, right? I mean, you got this, right? Like, you really got this.
Oh, he was saying, you got this?
Yeah.
Well, it certainly pays off. Your son, 14 years old.
Yeah.
So I'm fascinated by, you know, a teenage son who's got a dad who's doing these various projects. What's he most drawn to of the work right now? Because, I mean, Fallout, that's another one that a kid would be super into.
Right, you would think so,
Yeah.
but no, you know, he watched like the 5 minutes of the finale, you know, for some reason. And I don't know, all of his friends watch it, you know.
Yeah, but does he have a favorite or?
Baby Billy.
Yeah, well, I mean, Baby Billy.
Like the Righteous Gemstones.
I mean, that I would imagine for a 14-year-old.
Yeah,
It's hard to beat the Gemstones.
Well, I mean, he has. Do your kids watch your show? Do they? No.
They're all pretty hardcore Republicans.
That's amazing.
I mean, I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah. What are you gonna do? You gotta let them find their own path, you know.
Yeah, you do.
This is very cool. You're in a film, fantastic cast. Your wife directed it, wrote it as well.
Oh,
The
yeah,
Uninvited.
yeah. Yes, that's right.
And
Yeah,
you guys are going down. Is it going to be at South by?
Well, no, we premiered at South by.
Okay, great.
And it's finally kind of coming out.
This is fantastic. So this is a film your wife's been working on for a long time. Developed as a play first.
It was a play. Yeah, it started off as a play, and she had 3 readings of this play. One in Los Angeles, one in New York, and another one in London. And I wasn't invited to be a part of any of them. But I did get to be in the movie.
Yeah, you're
I'm in the
fantastic in the movie. It's a great cast. Rufus Sewell, Pedro Pascal, and
Pedro
it's a wonderful
Pascal,
film.
Rufus Sewell, yeah.
Do you enjoy collaborating? How do you like being directed by your wife?
You know, that's a process.
Yeah.
You know, kind of getting into that.
You got there. She got good work out of you.
That's right. You know,
Finally, somebody gets some work out of you. Yeah. It is a very cool time to have you here, although I'm always happy to see you. Thanks so much for being back, Walt.
Thank you for
You're the
having
best.
us.
Congrats on the show, man. Congrats. Walton Goggins, everybody, all episodes of The White Lotus. We'll see